All right, guys, so one of my favorite performances this past weekend. It is an honor to welcome this next guest who's going to bring us some insight into the crazy performance by Merab against Umar Nurmagomedov this past weekend at UFC 311. Coach John Wood, welcome to Submission Radio. John, your voice is a little hoarse after yelling, huh?
Yeah,
It was a big night.
that was a loud one. That was every now and then it goes out, but when you have to scream and yell that loud, and that arena was crazy. So yeah, it started going out a little bit last night, but made it through thankfully.
I mean, you've been a part of some crazy fights. I mean, most recently the Khalil Alex Pereira fight. But when it comes
Yeah.
to title defenses, this is like an all-time classic, right? How did you feel watching this unfold before your eyes?
Um, I felt great. Obviously, I was talking to my wife about it earlier, where it's crazy when you come up with a game plan, and especially for this one, we only had 6 weeks, and everything we did in that 6 weeks, and everything that Aljo and the team and everybody put together, our coaches and all these things for him. He went out there and did it perfectly. He went out there and executed it perfectly. And there's nothing better feeling as a coach when you see the fruits of your labor come to fruition right in front of you, and you just realize, okay, this is exactly how we thought and what we thought was going to happen, and here you are.
So what was the game plan now that we're after the fight? You can share it with me. How did you guys approach this one?
I mean, there's always layers to everything and everyone. And sometimes I always tell people when they ask me what game plans is, like, maybe on the surface it doesn't look like it's right there, but you have to start kind of peeling back the onions, and there's things that I saw in other fights and things that I saw just physical, expressions and things. And I knew, and I did another interview that has been posted, that I straight up said the game plan. I said, pretty much going to give away one or two, not give it away, but he's probably going to take one or two. With the way Merab, he works at a different pace sometimes, and he, basically takes the first round or two to download that information. We have a 5-round fight. And a lot of times he can still put the pressure on, and he could go 5 hard rounds. But when you have such a dangerous opponent, sometimes you have to spend the time, in figuring out and seeing and getting your rhythm and timing. So we knew 1 and 2 were going to be close. But we knew, at least I knew 3, 4, and 5 that he would break him. I knew that Umar would not be able to put the pace on or keep up with the pace. I knew that the wrestling and all the things that he was saying and these guys were saying just wasn't gonna be true on their end, because I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it. Rob is a different animal in there, and he's stronger, he's faster, he's got more technical stuff that maybe, like I said, doesn't look so beautiful to the eye, but he's good with it, man. He knows what he's doing. So, I just knew, even after watching the Sandhagen fight, Sandhagen fought a great fight against him defensively, but forgot to fight his fight. And that's a thing where, you know, uh, Merab is not somebody who will forget to fight his fight. Merab is going to do what Merab does, and we're going to just find different ways to do that according to the opponent in front of us.
Obviously, a lot of great wrestlers in the UFC, but he was able to beat GSP's record in this fight. How sweet was that for you to watch, be able to be in the corner to see him do that?
I mean, that's awesome. I wasn't even remotely thinking about that at the time, until afterwards. People started saying that he broke the record, and that's great for him. I think that man's going to break a lot of records. I think he's going to hold that title for a very, very long time, and I think you'll see a lot of records be broken by Merab.
Mm. All right, so Umar broke his hand in that first round. He kept trying to come at him, but like you mentioned, towards the end of the round, towards the end of the fight, you can tell he was exhausted. Anything surprise you about Umar at all in this fight?
Nah, not at all. He did what I thought he would do, and maybe he broke his hand in the first round, maybe he didn't. Who knows? Um, and I don't think having a broken hand affects your cardio. From last I checked, I don't think your hand bone and your lungs are connected.
Yeah.
So I don't think that really played into anything. And who cares? It's a fight. That's what happens. You maybe you throw a punch wrong or somebody turns their head or you hit someone, that is the name of the game. You know, it happens. Before Peter Yan, Merab had a completely broken hand. His hand was the size of a football. We could barely put a glove on it when he fought him. And it was, you know, broke then, broke after. And it didn't stop him at all for anything. It didn't change his game plan. So, you know, again, going back to the fact that he's built differently, you know, coming into this fight, you can say whatever you want. Like, honestly, any other fighter, I probably would have pulled them out of this fight, no questions asked. You know, he had cut up his leg previously, before we even got this camp. He had a nasty infection in his leg. He hasn't been able to kick, couldn't even walk. He threw out his back. There was a week over this camp, a full week where he couldn't even train, which is, if he's not training, I know he's like on his deathbed. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on at this camp and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure they had it too. And whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a fight. You know, you signed up for the fight. Shit happens, shit breaks, things, whatever. But like again, there wasn't anything that I didn't think was gonna happen. You know, it went very according to plan, almost exactly according to plan. You know, and Rob's out there having a great time. And if you can, you know, be defending takedowns from a guy who's supposedly you know, if he grabs you, you're dead. And defending and talking to people, you know, the next level for Merab, like I said, is we want to turn the fun into some finishes, and he'll get there. You know, like he just has a blast out there, and you don't want to change that. You know, if you have a fighter who's fighting at the level that he's at, having a great time, it might have been even, if anything, the only thing I'd say is maybe easier than expected. But it was, you know, and that's not being disrespectful, but that just it's how you know, how good Merab is, and I really want people to start, you know, noticing that.
Just going into those injuries. So you said he had a cut on his leg and that got infected. Are we talking about staph or something else? And then talk to me about this back. What was this back injury? Was it something to do with a herniated disc or something?
Man, so his leg, he got his leg cut up on our bleachers. You know, he was walking
Ah,
by the bleachers, and literally, like, you'll see the pictures come out, I'm sure, in the next few days, but like cuts all over where he left it, kept training through it, eventually got it stitched up too late, and the stitches busted, and then he restitched it, and then it just, his whole shin became, you know, infected. And it was a
damn.
concern of even getting cleared, you know, for this fight. And the infection, like the staph infection, you know, was gone, but the skin we were really afraid of, to the point where, you know, we got the commission to approve getting it wrapped.
Hmm.
You know, that he was going to do the Luke Rockhold thing, but, you know, Marab's like, no, I'm not going to show any kind of weakness. I don't care. It's fine. If it breaks open, it breaks open. So we had that, you know, and basically he couldn't use that leg for the entire camp. You know, and then dealing with being on antibiotics and all that kind of shit. And then his back, you know, he said it the other day. It was the UFC embedded came by, or the countdown, and he was out doing his workout in the street, and he jumped up the wrong way and then pinched a nerve, or, you know, pinched his
Ugh.
vertebrae, and couldn't walk for a week. So I was like, oh my god, you know, and so it was a complicated camp, but all in all, with all that being said, and I told this to Rob, like, it didn't matter how good he looked in his sparring, how good he was performing in the gym, told me what I needed to know, you know, and I just needed to make sure that his mind was on board when he got into that cage. And that is something about Marab that you cannot teach. It is just in him. He knows how to lock in. The day of the fight, everything changes, and you can just see the weight cut. Once the weight cut's done, he's like, oh my god, this is I'm gonna have a blast. Like, he just switches into, I am going to go out there, fight my ass off, and have fun. And it's really, you know, once I saw that in the morning for the shakeout, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a great night.
Mm. Obviously, he plays to the crowd a lot. He looked like he was having a great time in there. And a lot of interesting moments. One of them was when Umar tried to go, I think it was for like a single leg during the fight, couldn't get it. And then Merab went in, got him down, and kind of pointed. It was almost like, hey, you couldn't do it, but let me show you what I can do. What was your favorite sort of Merab moment from the fight? That he was able to sort of prove some of the doubters wrong?
I mean, I think one of the my favorite points was when Umar did get to his back, and there was no panic, there was no nothing. He got out immediately, got up, did all the techniques, like you said, that we've been working on and in the gym, and it was like a perfect, perfect game plan. The fight overall, I couldn't be happier with as far as a performance. Him having fun and just listening and making adjustments. It's small things, like in the first round, it was so much, it was so much just like sparring in the gym. I felt like we've gone through that fight 1,000 times already. And even the things
Mm.
he was doing in the first rounds, he was kind of circling around a little bit too much. And he does that in the gym in his first sparring round all the time. He'll circle around and do these things. And then finally, between rounds, making adjustments of, hey, start cutting off and start making him feel that pressure now. And, those little things are so awesome to see when you can tell a fighter. I think my favorite, thing is when he gets in the corner and you start talking to him. He starts downloading information. He'll start repeating it back to himself, and then right before he goes out to fight, he'll do a little checklist. Okay, so I need to level two, state pressure. I got to do this, got it, and then he goes out and does it. So like that always cracks me up. He just does this little checklist, goes out and starts doing it. And that's such an awesome trait to have in a fighter.
All right, guys, it's time for a new year and a new you. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Have you sorted all the best products to get you looking good downstairs and all over your body in 2025? Performance Package 5.0 Ultra by Manscaped is your secret weapon for stepping into 2025 sharp, clean, and confident. Don't be the guy that rolls into January looking like you just emerged from hibernation. Let the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 handle your overgrowth so you can focus on leveling up. Start 2025 with precision, because the only thing that should be growing this year is your success and not your scruff. Join the 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code word submission now. Keep this show going. Get 20% off and free shipping today. Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the all-in-one grooming kit. Of course, I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is the best tool you could have. It also comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. Full aftercare, which helps you treat yourself right with the crop soother and the crop preserver. Keeps you fresh and comfortable and confident, so you're always ready to move forward. And you get some free gift. Kick off the year with a bonus that elevates your routine. The Boxers 2.0, which I love to wear. They're one of the most comfortable boxers you can wear. And the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag, which I take with me everywhere I go. Manscaped has a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, so you can try it risk-free right now. Use the code word submission. Go right now, 20% off and free shipping. And I just want to talk to you guys about SAILY as well. SAILY is an unbelievable app that's going to change the game forever when it comes to travel, and you want to be covered with your phone. Forget lining up at airports and having to get a new SIM, taking your SIM out, keeping it in a little baggie, making sure you don't lose it. Forget all of that. SAILY has you sorted. All you got to do is download the app, choose the amount that you want to spend, what country you want to go to, and boom, like that, you are sorted. I just went to New Zealand. I was absolutely covered. I didn't want to spend the $10 or $20 or $30 a day that I was going to have to spend because of my provider. I put in an amount. It had me covered the entire time, and I even still have data left over because it was so smooth and easy. One of the things I love about SAILY as well that you may not realize is it actually comes with an ad blocker. So if you are watching videos or doing stuff on the internet, why waste your data on ads? The ad blocker has you sorted, and it comes with web protection as well. Malware on your device is the last thing you need on your travels. And SAILY gets you sorted and protected too. So why not jump on right now, use the code word submission, get 15% off. All you gotta do is download the app, choose your destination, where you wanna go, the amount of money you wanna spend, activate it on your phone without having to take out your SIM card, without having to line up at airports, without having to re-sign different documents. SAILY has you sorted, whether you need a little bit of data or a lot of data, whatever your plan is, SAILY has you covered wherever you go in the world. Go on right now, check out the app. It's the most seamless and easiest process when it comes to travel eSIMs that you can experience. Use the code word submission, 15% off. Jump on right now. What are you waiting for? Grab your SAILY today. If you're traveling tomorrow, next month, get it sorted today. Use the code word submission while it's still active. It's 15% off. SAILY.com/submission gets you sorted. Try it today, whether it's a lot of data, small amount of data. SAILY has you sorted. Easy, seamless, highly recommended. Now back to the program. He's such a classic. Let me ask you this. Does he chew gum in the fight? Like, it looked like he was chewing on something. What is that? Break this down
No,
for me.
it's his mouthpiece. Somebody else asked me that too. No, his jaw's not broken. He didn't chew any gum. He just does that thing where, like, I think maybe when he gets hit or he just gets into it, he does that. He does that little like
Mm.
jaw thing. I think it's just something that's in there that he does. But no, his jaw's perfectly fine. Everything was fine. No gum chewing. He just it's just something he does. He does it in sparring sometimes too. It comes out.
I love it. It's like a real boss move. It's like, all right, let me see what I can do here, kind of thing. I love it. I love it. Um, all right. Well, let me ask you this, John. What do you think is next for Merab? Obviously, there's a couple of tough challenges in the division. There's a few rematches. If it was up to you, what would you like to see next for him?
I mean, he's in a weird spot where you're the champion, and if you literally have beat everybody,
Mm.
everybody that's it would be next in line. So, I think we're going to be looking at a rematch next. And I kind of already have, ideas of what the UFC wants to do, but I'll let that, play out. But, it's so hard to tell because injuries, things happen. But if I'm a betting man, I'm guessing, obviously, I think you're going to have Jan or O'Malley will be the rematch. One of those two would probably be the most, common sense uh, answer, I guess, would
Mm.
be. So, and, I'm fine with whatever. And it's, O'Malley's pushing super hard. Jan is kind of too now, but O'Malley still has the bigger draw, star power name. So, I would look to think that that's going to be a name that's definitely in the mix.
This version of Merab, especially if he's healthy, how do you see the rematch with O'Malley looking if that is the next one?
Listen, in 6 weeks, this man got so much better, and he keeps getting better every camp. Now we got some time to probably sit back and actually work on Merab's game, work on making Merab better, not for a specific person or anything. And I think you're going to just see the next level. This fight with Umar, he's probably 70%, if not 60% healthy for this fight, and he went out there and did that. And it's just, if you get a motivated, improving Rob, I just and here's the thing: when you fought somebody before, they're going to go out there and they're going to make the adjustments. Oh, we felt this. I think this. I think if I do that, and it's my job to go. Okay, they're going to think that. They're going to try to do this, do that. So we're going to do this the other way. So it makes it kind of fun to be able to kind of counter game plan on those deals, but I just don't see anybody beating him. I really don't. I don't everybody can get knocked out on any night, and that's the only way is if the lucky punch lands. And I say lucky, it's a skilled punch, but move the wrong way into something, and you do this, you do that. But honestly, my guess is if we fight O'Malley again, he finishes him.
Mm. Did you guys run into those guys at all in the back, by the way? I know Tim Welch was very complimentary of Merab's performance. They were there watching it live,
Mhm. We didn't see him. I didn't. Saw him walk by, but we were, too busy doing
celebrating.
Rob's champion celebration stuff.
Too busy dealing with that guy from the commission who was trying to pull Merab down. What happened with that? What was that?
I
What
mean,
is happening there?
California is a very interesting place with commissions and stuff, and so, uh, but the guy just tried to yank him down and almost pulled him off the cage. And man, like, what a jackassy thing to do, but it is what it is. Like you're not supposed to get on the cage, I guess, so they don't want you on the cage. So it's
Dude,
I
imagine
would.
he pulls him down from behind. The guy falls on his head. You
Yeah,
just
no, I mean that's the thing I'm saying is it wasn't a very smart move to do. There's ways to get a person off the cage, other than pull them onto the back of their head. But I don't like talking about commission stuff and things like that. But yeah, that wasn't the smartest thing by anybody.
All right, let me ask you this quickly before we wrap, because I know you're recovering after a big weekend. Jiri was able to pick up a pretty impressive win over Jamal Hill. It looked like it could have been anybody's fight at one point, but Jamal was walked into some shots and was stopped. I know your man Khalil Roundtree, he's recovering, looking for a big fight. How do you like Jiri as potentially the next fight for Khalil?
Love it. I love it. I think that we would match up very, very well with Yuri. I think that's the fight that gets you back to a title shot, obviously now. And I think Khalil He's another one of those guys that's still improving and getting better. And, I would love to have the chance to fight somebody like Jiri, who's the top of the game. And he just went out and had a great performance. And, I think that a motivated, self-believing Khalil can do all kinds of crazy shit in there. And I think that's what would happen in this fight. And it'd be a great fight. I'm all for it.
We saw Khalil's epic fight with Alex Pereira. You're not really known for his defense. Let's just without even breaking it down, you haven't had a chance to really look at his game plan or game set or, sit down with the guys at the gym. But how do you see that fight going? Because Khalil probably possesses some of the biggest power in that division
Yeah.
outside of Alex Pereira.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I don't think that fight's going the distance. And I think that obviously from the coaching standpoint, Yuri is very open to a lot of things, but that's also what he does good. The reason it looks so awkward, but he lunges at you, there's no tell. By the time the punch is there, it's already hitting you when you see it because it's just coming from the lunging spot. But he got hit a lot last night, and there was a game of inches. The final sequence, when he pulled out of that way, that hook from Jamal just touched his whiskers, and then he came back and boom, and that's the game. So as much as we could get to him, he could get to us. And, being respectfully, I don't want to come out here and say that, Khalil's just going to go out there and knock him out. But I, think that there is a big, big, big possibility that fight would not see, 5 rounds if it's a main event fight, which I'm sure it probably could be.
I mean, if you want to sell a pay-per-view, put those guys on the card, am I right? That's just
it's a great
dream
fight.
matchmaking.
It's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, you could just sell that one fight, and I think everyone would buy it.
Yeah.
All right, John Wood, congratulations, man. It was an incredible night, an incredible performance. I know you guys worked hard to get this across the line. You, Ray Longo, Aljo, and the whole team. I want to congratulate you, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Make sure to celebrate now that you're home.
I mean, I got to get back on it and head to Florida for karate combat, then off to Australia, and then back to Vegas. So there's not going to be a lot of celebrating, except for maybe I'll have some dinner with my wife tonight. But it's back to it's back to the grind tomorrow.
I got to be waiting for you in Sydney, man. I'll see you in February. Thank you so much, John.
All right, brother. Take care.